The first look at Gilded Age Season 4 instantly tells us one thing. The era of quiet tensions is over. And now, the characters are stepping into a battle for power that feels bigger, darker, and far more personal than anything we've seen before. The cracks in the Russell Empire, the rising ambitions of newcomers, and the lingering wounds from Season 3 are shaping a new chapter where every decision could cost someone their status, their marriage, or even their life. The early whispers reveal that Bertha Russell is entering this season with a dangerous mixture of triumph and desperation. She may have solidified her name among New York's elite, but behind closed doors, her life is unraveling faster than she can stitch it back together. The breakdown of her marriage with George is no longer a subtle threat. It's an open wound that the entire society can sense, and everyone seems ready to exploit it. The first look confirms that Bertha is determined to win George back. But this time, it's not just a matter of apologies or promises. Her entire identity as a wife, a mother, and a social titan is being tested in a way she never expected. And yes, the rumors are true. An unexpected woman enters the picture as George's potential new love interest, creating a threat Bertha never saw coming. This mysterious newcomer isn't just a flirtation. She represents everything George thinks he wants: peace, loyalty, and a life without the endless battles for status. The tension between Bertha and this new rival will push Bertha to limits we haven't seen before, forcing her to question whether ambition is worth losing the man she built her life with. Meanwhile, the aftermath of George's assassination attempt still casts a heavy shadow over the entire Russell household. Instead of retreating into safety, George becomes dangerously obsessed with uncovering his attacker's identity. Even early footage hints that this investigation will pull him into a much darker side of New York's underbelly, one where power, revenge, and corruption blend together in ways he never imagined. And the chilling part is that the closer he gets to the truth, the more he risks igniting a war that could destroy everything he has worked for. But the Russells aren't the only ones facing upheaval. First look details reveal that Peggy and Dr. Kirkland's newly found happiness isn't as secure as it appears. His dominating mother, along with the pressures of joining two powerful Black families, will create a storm that tests their commitment at every step of their wedding preparations. Peggy, who has already endured more heartbreak than most characters in the series, may be stepping into a new chapter of love, but Season 4 seems ready to remind her that even joy comes with a cost, in a world built on appearances and expectations. And then there's Oscar. If there's one character whose choices are about to spiral out of control, it's him. His alliance with Mrs. Winterton, one of the most calculating and manipulative climbers in the show, will send shockwaves through the entire social structure. The first look hints strongly that Mrs. Winterton's ambition will reach a level we've never seen before, placing her directly in Bertha's line of fire. The shocking part? Oscar won't be able to control her. Their partnership becomes a ticking time bomb, ready to explode the moment Mrs. Winterton senses an opportunity to rise even higher, even if it means betraying Oscar, destroying reputations, or reigniting her rivalry with Bertha in the most dramatic way possible. And yes, whispers suggest that Mrs. Winterton might be the woman drawn toward George Russell, adding fuel to a storyline that could break the internet when it airs. But amidst all this chaos, there's one storyline that offers a rare spark of warmth: Marion and Larry Russell. After seasons of misunderstandings and near misses, they are finally stepping into a new era of certainty, commitment, and emotional honesty. The first look confirms that their wedding preparations will shape the emotional backbone of Season 4. Their union is expected to be the light guiding the Russells through their darkest moments. And the closer we get to their wedding, the more pressure Bertha will feel to hold her family together. But don't get too comfortable, because this is Gilded Age. Even a beautiful wedding can turn into a battlefield. Early hints suggest that their ceremony will be saved for the season finale, meaning all the drama surrounding it will rise and fall like a storm throughout the entire season. As for the release date, all signs point toward a late 2026 premiere, following the pattern of previous seasons. And based on the viewership spikes, HBO knows this series is only getting bigger, bolder, and more addictive. Season 4 is already shaping up to be the moment where the battles of old New York reach their peak, where ambition meets consequence, and where every character must decide exactly how much they're willing to sacrifice for love, status, and survival. And trust me, the first look makes one thing absolutely clear: nobody is safe this season, not even the most powerful names in New York. As Season 4 begins to take shape, the first look makes it clear that New York's social battlefield is evolving into something far more ruthless than we've ever witnessed before. And every character, whether they realize it or not, is already being pushed into a new game of survival. What stands out immediately is how deeply the cracks in the Russell Empire have begun to spread. Bertha, once the unstoppable force of the city's social scene, now finds her authority challenged from every direction. The chaos within her marriage spills into her public life, weakening the one thing she spent years perfecting, her reputation. And the first look footage hints at a quieter, colder version of Bertha, one who is finally realizing that ambition alone may not protect her from losing everything she values. She enters Season 4 with a shaky confidence, forced to juggle social battles, personal heartbreak, and the growing threat of an outsider who is suddenly becoming dangerously important to George. This love rival remains unconfirmed, but the whispers surrounding her presence are enough to shake Bertha to her core. She's described as graceful, intelligent, and someone who understands George in a way that Bertha may have forgotten how to. Their potential connection becomes a crackling source of tension throughout the season, the kind that could split a family in half or push Bertha into a brand new transformation, one where vulnerability, fear, and self-reflection replace the hard steel she usually cloaks herself in. At the same time, George's hunt for the person behind his assassination attempt intensifies. The first look indicates that he becomes increasingly reckless, taking meetings in secret, examining dangerous alliances, and venturing into political and financial territories that make even his closest advisors nervous. His determination to uncover the truth forces him into the shadows of a society he once towered above, and every step he takes brings him closer to discovering something far darker than a simple personal grudge. The more he digs, the more he begins to suspect that his shooter wasn't acting alone, that the attack may have been planned by someone with real power, someone who benefits from watching the Russell Empire bleed. Meanwhile, Peggy's storyline deepens in unexpected ways. Even though her romance with Dr. Kirkland feels like a breath of fresh air, the first look suggests their relationship will become one of the season's most emotional arcs. With their families coming together, Peggy finds herself trapped between pursuing her dreams and managing the expectations placed on her by society, Kirkland's mother, and the Black elite. The wedding planning becomes a symbolic battleground, one where Peggy must decide whether she will continue living for others or finally take control of her own life. Her independence has always been her strongest trait, and Season 4 seems ready to test exactly how far she'll go to protect it when love, family, and ambition collide. And just when it seems like the social landscape couldn't get any more complicated, Oscar Van Ryn makes a decision that could unleash chaos across the entire season. His alliance with Mrs. Winterton is already making waves, but the first look reveals that this partnership is far more manipulative and unpredictable than we expected. Mrs. Winterton's hunger for influence has intensified, and she is no longer content with simply belonging to society. She wants to reshape it in her image. Oscar, blinded by desperation and fear of fading into irrelevance, underestimates the danger of tying himself to someone who has proven time and time again that she will betray anyone the moment it benefits her. Their storyline becomes a slow-burning disaster, drawing Agnes, Ada, and the entire Van Ryn household into a storm they never wanted to be part of. And if the rumors are true that Mrs. Winterton might turn her attention toward George Russell, the rivalry between her and Bertha is about to reach nuclear levels. The first look even hints at moments where Bertha finally realizes she created her own worst enemy by ignoring Mrs. Winterton's sharp rise during past seasons. But not everything in Season 4 is doom and chaos. In fact, Marion and Larry Russell's storyline becomes the gentle heartbeat of the new season, offering viewers a rare sense of hope amidst all the turmoil. Their slow-burn romance, which finally blossomed at the end of Season 3, now strengthens into a committed partnership. The first look shows them working together, supporting each other, and standing united in ways that contrast sharply with Bertha and George's fractured marriage. Their upcoming wedding becomes the emotional centerpiece of the season, a symbol of unity during a time when everything else seems to be falling apart. But the wedding planning won't be peaceful. The closer the ceremony gets, the more their relationship becomes entangled in the politics and expectations of both families. Larry must learn how to support Marion without stepping on Bertha's toes, and Marion must navigate her new position in the Russell dynasty with grace. Every misstep has consequences, and the pressures surrounding their wedding only increase as the season progresses. Still, the first look makes it clear. Their love story might be the one thing that keeps the Russell family from collapsing entirely. And as Season 4 unfolds, it becomes obvious that their union represents something even bigger, the possibility that love can survive in a world built on power, wealth, and endless ambition. With all these storylines colliding, the first look at Gilded Age Season 4 paints a picture of a season filled with bold moves, unpredictable twists, and emotional turning points that could redefine the lives of every character we've come to love. The stakes are higher, the rivalries sharper, and the future more uncertain than ever. And trust me, this is only the beginning. As more details from the first look begin to surface, it becomes clear that Gilded Age Season 4 is about to push the boundaries of every storyline, weaving together a season that thrives on tension, ambition, and the kinds of emotional turns that leave audiences stunned. One of the most thrilling parts of the new season is how deeply the writers are diving into the fractures between Bertha and George Russell. Their marriage has always been built on a shaky balance between love and ambition, but Season 4 finally tips that balance in a way neither of them can ignore. George's emotional distance grows colder, sharper, and more visible in public, triggering whispers throughout New York society that the Russell dynasty might not be as invincible as everyone once believed. Bertha, who has fought all her life to earn her place among the elite, suddenly finds herself juggling a collapsing marriage and a rising threat from a woman who might become George's new confidant. The unsettling part is that this mystery woman isn't just a random rival. Early hints suggest she comes from a background that George respects, someone who understands both business and loyalty, qualities he no longer sees in Bertha. The tension created by this love triangle becomes the backbone of the season, driving Bertha into emotional corners she has never experienced before. And yet, even in her most vulnerable moments, Bertha is determined to rebuild her connection with George, forcing herself to choose between her ruthless public persona and the softer, more genuine side she has always kept hidden. While Bertha is fighting her battles at home, George's personal quest for justice drags him deeper into danger. The first look reveals scenes where George operates far outside the comfort of industrial boardrooms and lavish estates. Instead, he steps into worlds dripping with corruption, bribery, and political manipulation. The more he tries to uncover the truth behind the assassination attempt, the more he realizes he is dealing with forces that would rather see him dead than allow him to expose their secrets. This storyline heightens the tension of the season, creating a sense of paranoia that spreads across the Russell family. Even the staff becomes uneasy, watching as George's investigation slowly consumes him. And with every new lead he follows, the threat grows larger, hinting that the attack might be connected to a powerful enemy, one who will not hesitate to strike again. George's obsession not only endangers his life, but also pulls him further away from Bertha, making any chance of repairing their marriage feel more distant with each passing moment. On the other side of town, Peggy is dealing with her own set of emotional challenges. Though her engagement to Dr. Kirkland appears to be a joyful turning point, the first look confirms that their journey to the altar will be anything but smooth. Kirkland's mother, who already demonstrated her controlling nature in Season 3, becomes even more aggressive in her attempts to shape their union according to her standards. She interferes in wedding preparations, questions Peggy's choices, and even tries to influence how Peggy presents herself within their community. Peggy, who has always been firm in her identity and independence, suddenly feels suffocated by expectations that threaten to reshape her future. The pressure grows heavier as she navigates her career, family, and evolving role in society. Though she deeply loves Kirkland, Peggy begins to feel the weight of marrying into a family that has its own reputation to protect. Her storyline becomes one of the most emotional threads of the season, exploring themes of love, sacrifice, and personal autonomy. And as Kirkland finds himself torn between his fiancée and his domineering mother, their relationship is pushed to a breaking point that will challenge them in ways neither expected. Meanwhile, Oscar's spiral continues to be one of the most alarming and frustrating narrative threads. Season 4 pushes him into decisions that expose his deepest insecurities. No longer protected by his former charm or connections, Oscar becomes increasingly desperate to secure his position in high society. His partnership with Mrs. Winterton begins as a calculated move, but quickly transforms into a nightmare that even he can't control. Mrs. Winterton, fueled by her own ambition and her burning desire to climb beyond the limits society has set for her, manipulates Oscar with alarming ease. The first look hints that she begins to use his vulnerabilities against him, pushing him into situations where he must choose between his morals and his need for survival. Worse, Mrs. Winterton's ambitions seem to grow more dangerous with each passing episode. If the rumors are true and she does attempt to insert herself into George Russell's life, it will ignite a war between her and Bertha that could shake the entire social order. Bertha may be powerful, but Mrs. Winterton is unpredictable, a combination that guarantees explosive conflict. And Oscar, trapped in the middle, will have no clue how to escape the consequences he helped create. In contrast to all the chaos surrounding the characters, Marion and Larry Russell's love story stands out as the emotional heart of Season 4. Their wedding preparations become a symbol of hope, not just for them, but for both of their families. But even their romance isn't free from complications. Larry must navigate the delicate line between being a loving partner and being a loyal son, especially as Bertha leans more heavily on him for emotional support. Marion, meanwhile, finds herself adjusting to the pressures that come with being connected to the Russell name, pressures she never anticipated when she first met Larry. The first look reveals moments filled with tenderness, quiet conversations, and mutual understanding, proving that their relationship is one of the few stable elements in the storm that surrounds them. Still, their journey is far from perfect. Their wedding becomes the grand event that every character is preparing for, talking about, and feeling the weight of. As Season 4 builds toward this climactic celebration, every storyline tightens, every rivalry intensifies, and every emotional thread pulls closer to breaking. And by the time the finale arrives, viewers will realize that the wedding isn't just a romantic conclusion. It's the moment where everything in New York society converges, igniting consequences that will echo long after the season ends. As the layers of Gilded Age Season 4 continue to unfold, the first look paints a picture of a society on the brink of transformation, one where every character is forced to confront the very thing they fear most. For Bertha Russell, that fear has always been losing control. And this season, for the first time, she begins to experience what life feels like when control slips through her fingers. The glamorous ballrooms, the glittering soirees, and the carefully planned social victories no longer satisfy her the way they used to, because she knows that beneath all of it lies a truth she cannot escape. She is fighting a losing battle for her marriage. The more she tries to show George that she can soften her ambition, prioritize her family, and rebuild their connection, the more he seems to drift away, lost in his mission to discover his attacker and possibly tempted by someone who offers him a simpler, calmer life.